keto friendly. So they are one of the macronutrients. The macronutrients are fat, carbohydrates, and proteins. So they are one of them. They're macronutrients that became popular in the 1990s. People and nutritional advisors had to replace carbohydrates with macronutrients. So when in the 1990s, when Atkins advocated low carb, the nutritionists were like, okay, so we lowered the carb, what should we do to make the food appetizing more for the patients? So they increased protein. I don't know why when we lowered fat, we didn't increase anything else. So when they advised us to lower fat, the macronutrient of fat lowered, they didn't advise us to increase anything. But when we lowered carbohydrates, they said increase proteins. I don't know why. So the original Atkins, and I remember when we said Atkins, John was on me all the time. Doctor, Atkins is high protein. The original Atkins, when Atkins came about when I was in medical school, Atkins was never in high protein. Atkins, the original Atkins is low carb, high fat. So the fusion of low carb diet with fat fear, that fusion created a new Atkins version, V2. This is what you were talking about. But there's a 20-year difference between you and me, or more, maybe 30. How old are you? 22. Yeah, 30 years, so I'm 51. So this new bastard diet was high in protein. High protein diets don't work. They don't work for weight loss. Actually, they're dangerous. When you put somebody on a high protein, low carb diet, you get them constipated. You get them to stink with the bad breath. Okay? The nitrogen levels go up the roof, and then their breath is horrible. When I did Atkins and I started increasing my protein, my wife was telling me all the time, put a gum in your mouth. I never had that issue with ketogenic diet. I don't know who's doing keto now from y'all. One. Okay. Have you had any problem with bad breath?
I mean, initially.
Initially, but try to lower your protein, it goes away. It goes away completely. Okay? And most of us don't understand. Like my brother in Lebanon wanted to do ketogenic diet, and then he's like, I'm not losing weight that much, and I'm constipated. I said, what do you have for breakfast? I have a big brother, muscular. He said, I have 5 eggs in the morning, and half a chicken at lunch, and 4 steaks at night. I'm going to hang up the phone on you because everything I preached to you, I mean, the man eats, okay? So I don't actually take more than 1 gram per kilogram of lean body weight. I'm very harsh on myself, but it has given me a great deal of benefits. But whenever I increase my protein, and I measure my sugar in the morning, every time I increase my protein, my sugar is about 80. And my goal is to have a morning sugar below 80. And it never fails me when I'm at 1 gram per kilogram. A day, not a meal, a day. So Atkins version 2 approach assumed that proteins do not raise insulin since they do not raise blood sugar. This is completely incorrect. Completely incorrect. Let's talk about glycemic index versus insulin index. We always look at a glycemic index. What is a glycemic index? It measures the rise in blood glucose response to the standard portion of food. So when you feed somebody, and the gold standard, or what they measured against, is the glucose. So 50 grams of glucose it has 100. 50 grams of corn has probably 75 or 80. You know that 50 grams of beer even is higher? Beer has a higher glycemic index than glucose itself. So this is the glycemic index. What is the insulin index? It's the same measurement, but to a certain portion of food, it measures the insulin index. Okay? So what stimulates insulin secretion from the pancreas? Blood glucose, The incretins, what I talked about, which is the GLP and the GIP, those are secreted by the intestine, by the stomach, small intestine, and then this is in response to food. We talked about the fattening effect of combination of carbohydrates and fat has a worse insulin response than the carbohydrates itself. And let me talk a little bit about the Dr. Nancy experiment. You know what there's a physician, I forget the last name. What this person did is she gave a bolus of glucose to a patient, and the same bolus gave an IV. And she expected that the glucose would rise more with the IV, okay, rather than with the intestine. And she noticed that the effect was more with the food intake. And the reason is the food intake. When you eat, you increase your, oh, what did I do? Up there. Okay. So you increase your GLP and GIP by taking the food. So basically, when you take food with the mouth, you increase your insulin, not because your insulin response, you increase it more than you do it with the IV. Okay? So she shot, I'm sorry I made a mistake. She shot the person with glucose and she fed him glucose and she measured the insulin index. The insulin index was higher with the food intake. And the reason is because it increased the GLP and GIP. Okay, GLP-1, that needed to be corrected here. Okay, am I clear on these? All right. Cortisol as well increases insulin secretion. Our brain has a cephalic response. When we smell food sometimes, your insulin goes up. Okay? Smelling food. So there are three phases. You smell the food, you eat the food, the effect of glucose load to the blood increases your insulin, plus the GLP-1 and the GIP. Splenda and sweet and low, those two are horrible. They raise insulin by 22%. Okay? So it doesn't probably increase your sugar. If you take Splenda, you drink coffee with Splenda, you measure your sugar, sugar is not high. However, your insulin is high. So again, what we talked about, when insulin is high, all we do is we accumulate fat in our body. Whey protein, we were talking about protein shakes. Do you know that whey protein raises your insulin by 298%? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So what happens when we go to the gym? All these protein shakes, look at that. Most of them are whey protein. Example of strong stimulants: glucose, amino acids, non-nutritive sweeteners, except erythritol. Erythritol doesn't do that, which I was very happy to learn that when I researched erythritol, it doesn't do that. Stevia does that, however. Stevia does that. Stevia increases your insulin, not as much, okay? Now I have to tell you, I mean, when you increase insulin and you don't have much sugar, so the weight gain effect is not as strong. However, it's not good because our goal is to decrease the insulin level, okay? Any questions on this slide? We understand that the insulin rise is different than the glycemic rise. So when we tell the patient, go eat protein, and the patient is not going to understand that, you tell them that you're increasing your insulin level. But our goal is not to drop just glucose, but insulin. Insulin is our goal.
Dr. Sleiman,
Yes.
so going back to the other slide, so does all the other sweeteners fall in the same category as Splenda and Sweet Low?
Erythritol so far is the only one that I did research and it doesn't do that. Erythritol, monk fruit doesn't do that. There's not much research on monk fruit. But stevia is okay. Stevia is okay. But even the amount that we do on a ketogenic diet, they're not that horrible. They're not that bad. You know, I eat sweets all the time that Rita makes with erythritol, but I don't have any sugar in my house. You can walk up to my house. You open the fridge, the cupboard, the pantry. I only have erythritol. I have stevia leaves, but erythritol I use it. Monk fruit, I have locanto, which is a combination of monk fruit and erythritol. I have those all the time, but regular sugar I don't. You gotta go to Betty's house.
If I haven't taken.
Dr. Sleiman, what
shape then are you telling patients that are okay? Patients want
Okay, that's a very good question. Animal proteins and whey protein, most people think that whey is a plant protein. Whey is from
You used to
animals.
say gold standard.
Huh?
You used to say gold standard, like I know I saw it in one of the pamphlets. Is that,
We've changed. I don't know what's in gold standard. I forgot. It was a long time ago. No, the gold standard protein. No, we have I forgot what that is. But whey is actually an animal protein. Whey is not a plant protein. Okay, so it's got to get it from butter and milk, I think.
so you want them to be plant-based?
Plant-based proteins are the only proteins that have the least effect on insulin rise or insulin index. Plant-based proteins.
What about egg white proteins?
It's an animal protein. Yeah. You have to remember that proteins are chains of amino acids. Okay, and 48 to 50% of the amino acids are glucogenic. The rest are ketogenic and ketogenic and glucogenic. And there are only two, lysine and isoleucine, I think, that are only ketogenic in the way they get oxidized. So proteins can also raise your blood glucose, not only by raising your insulin, but through gluconeogenesis. The gluconeogenesis, which is creating glucose from gluco is glucose, neo is new, genesis is creation. So the liver has the ability to create glucose from carbon chains. The preferred carbon chains come from where? From proteins. Okay? How much is okay? We went over that. 0.7 to 0.9 grams per pound of lean body mass, or 1 gram per lean body to patients with short conclusion. We went over this already. Okay? This is a slide that you need to imprint in your head and think about it, because this is the goal: is to increase that sucker right here. Okay? This is what causes obesity. Right here, and we need to attack this, and I've already spoken about that. Animal protein is horrible. Fatty carbohydrates are the worst. This is why people just, they go to McDonald's. It's not the meat that is in between those breads. It's the combination of those two. Okay? This is stress related. This we gotta go to John's talk and calm down. Music. Okay? That's pretty much it, guys. I think